Good morning, everyone. I hope that you had a good rest. I also want to say that it was really nice to have already broken the ice yesterday, because I feel that yesterday we already got into some very good discussions and questions and answers and sharing of best practices. So I had a really nice day. I hope that you did too. And today we're going to continue then, as mentioned, we're going to talk about training of mediators and how we do it at the EUIPO, but of course we're going to have time for discussion, so hopefully we can hear as well about the different approaches in your countries. And then we'll continue with a little bit of trends and developments in IP mediation. It's going to be actually more of a setup for the roundtable session. In the roundtable session, we will have all of the colleagues from the different countries coming in and talking about a bit about what's important for them as far as trends and developments are going at the moment. I will moderate that, so unfortunately I have to say, please bear with me. It seems like Luwin and I are supposed to be talking a lot today. Hope it doesn't get too boring. If it does, just interrupt me with some questions or comments so we can share a bit the discussion. And then after lunch, our plan is to try and get a little bit more interactive if everyone's up for it. So we'll take it easy with some videos first, I think most people are mediators already or have undergone some training. So we're going to kind of review a bit the fundamental aspects. And then after the coffee break, we can maybe try and put them into action a little bit, if that would be okay for everyone. But we'll take it easy. I think no pressure, no stress, and hopefully have a nice time with it. So maybe we'll continue now with our approach to training of our mediators at the EUIPO. Okay. So basically, what do? We start with a selection of staff. Normally, we're looking at people like trademark and design examiners who already have quite some experience in the neighborhood of about 10 years in examining trademarks, whether on absolute grounds, so trademark applications, but also, more importantly, I think for mediation, inter partes proceedings, so oppositions, cancellations, okay? And they tend to, and also that they have languages. One of the things that we benefit a lot from at the EUIPO is that we have 5 working languages, so German, French, English, Spanish, and Italian, but we actually cover all of the 27 EU member states, so we have all of the languages in-house that we can offer in the case of a mediation. And then we have colleagues like Luwin as well that bring their own non-EU languages into the mix when needed. So this, we would say, IP experience languages at least as a starting point. Then we go for the accreditation training. So we jump straight into the accreditation training. I remember yesterday we talked a lot about the different types of organizations that provide mediation training services and accreditation services, and I think that was maybe a common thread in a way throughout the presentations, because of course I don't think any IP office is going to provide very good mediation services without having appropriately trained and accredited mediators. So we use, there was mention yesterday in Singapore of CIMI, which if I understand correctly is almost like the Singapore branch of IMI, and so IMI would be the international umbrella of different accreditation services that you can find throughout the world. We have been using IMI accredited service providers so far, mainly those based in London. So CEDAR, the Center for Effective Dispute Resolution, is in London. And we also have been using the London School of Mediation. And I think everyone that's been through their trainings has had a really wonderful experience with them. Now, this is where it starts. That's the start of it. And then we start with the presentation. So basically, after one of our colleagues, one of our staff is accredited as a mediator by either CEDAR or LSM, they enter our what we call mediators engagement plan, okay? And basically, these are the three things that we're trying to do. We're trying to support the mediators by providing information and communication framework. So we're actually in constant contact with them. Now, they're doing other work too at the office, so we don't bother them all the time. But as you'll see, we have regular information sharing and meetings and training. So you'll see more about that. We lay down, this is important, and I think we already mentioned it yesterday, that we lay down the foundations for future growth as we're expanding our mediation services to first instance. Recalling that up until now, we've only been offering mediation for appeals. So now we're moving into the more voluminous services like oppositions, where we have some 20,000 a year. So that's why we need more mediators. And I think this is something that goes in line with breaking the ice yesterday. I think we all sort of talked about how we can, I don't know if I want to use the term convince, but how we can basically spread this culture of mediation to avoid litigation, to avoid formal judicial proceedings, and rather try and talk about it to find better solutions. So this is something that we want all of our mediators to embody, whether it's at the office, in the community, or when they go to conferences. We'd like for them to focus on alternative dispute resolution and this culture of handling disputes rather than talk about litigation, okay? So we, like I said, we really will be needing probably more mediators, and that's, I think, our main focal point at the moment. Here you see that up until now, we've had only about 24 appointed mediators. What does appointed mean? It means they went through the whole engagement plan that you will hear about more in detail, which qualified them to be appointed by the executive director, meaning they appear on an official list that's available online, and they can be selected by parties to act as mediator in a dispute. Now, we believe that over the course of this year, you can imagine how busy it's been, we've actually brought 22 new colleagues to the point that they can be nominated. So this has been a lot of training and a lot of focus on trying to help our colleagues develop into being able to mediate on their own, without support of another, let's say, more experienced mediator. And here we really, like it says, we need to focus on the different languages and different backgrounds. And we also need to make sure that we're in good contact and good standing with their bosses because our office is quite big. We will have nearly 1,500 people working there, and most of our mediators are not from our service and not from the mediation center. They're from other services. So we need to maintain extremely good relationships with their bosses to ensure that they will be available when we need them. So I think I will now give it to Luwin, and he's going to tell you a little bit more.
Thank you. Yeah. Under the engagement plan, I think it's an opportunity for accredited mediators to provide to have more knowledge, to build up on this knowledge on this mediation and the system that we have. So we, under the engagement plan, we provide mediators with a lot of communication. So we communicate with them, a lot of information. So what are these information that they could avail of? So one is that we have this mediators community update. it's an email giving the information what will happen to succeeding months, and what are future trainings available for them, what are the trainings that capacity building effort that are being planned for each mediator. So this is a six. There will be 6 editions per year usually. We also have this mediator coordination meetings, which we conduct at these six sessions yearly. Well, we have just conducted the last one last October 30, and then the next one is we will have a culmination meeting on December 10th. This will be usually in coordination meeting. We have sharing of information, sharing of experiences. We ask mediators who have handled recent cases for debrief and share their experiences with other mediators. We also provide the training report. This is ad hoc to the whole roster, and collecting feedback on what their expectations, what they think would be needed for them to handle more cases efficiently. So these are part of the communication plan for mediators.
Luwin, maybe
Yeah.
if I can, I would just like to say our mediator coordination meetings are very fun. It's a lot of people, because if you imagine, there's the 24 that we had already in the past, adding the 22 plus that are ready to be appointed, plus adding about 30 newly trained ones, and they're all passionate about mediation, and we get to sit together and discuss and share experience, particularly about mediations that we recently closed, some successful, some not, and this is really a lot of fun. It's a great experience. And also wanted to say that on the final 2 points, collecting mediators' feedback can be on any number of things that might be impacting our mediator community. So one example is when we want to know what kind of trainings can we provide for them. Where do they think they might still have a gap in order to improve their skills? So we'll provide them with a list in a survey. They'll respond to the survey, and then we know, okay, they need more training on online mediation, because most of the mediations are online, or they'd like to know more about emotion handling because they may have recently had parties that were very upset and they were hard to deal with. So we collect this type of information, and it helps us with our planning going forward. So that impacts the second to last bullet point, trainings, and I will talk more specifically on trainings about reporting mediations and what that even means. It sounds mysterious right now, but it's actually quite straightforward. So thank you, Luwin.
Thank you. Okay. Of course, we have to lay the foundation for the future growth of our mediators, like expanding their skills, expanding their knowledge on how to handle cases which is relevant to the office. So now we have this new mediators which would be designated by the ED in this probably at the end of this year, or if not, they have already been in the process of the accreditation appointment. Okay, so Asan, how do you become how do you nominate an employer as part of our mediator? So one is that you have to satisfy these things. One, you have attended and practice at least one mock mediation sessions. You have to attend one mock mediation session. So it's a requirement. You have acted as a reporting mediator or follow-up on a friendly settlement proposal at first instance case in one case. So what is reporting mediator? These are you would act as a case handler you would initiate the communication with the parties, ask them would they be amenable to mediation. So that would be part of the reporting mediator task or program. Then you have to have a shadow experience, shadowing experience. So this will be with an expert mediator, and you will be part of the mediation process or mediation. Then you have to be like a training mediator. You have to be shadow the whole process. You have to be involved also as well, and so you would have a first hand how to handle a mediation case. Okay, and this is an optional. Is to be you could be tap as a body mediator in at least one of the cases, but this is optional. But at least the three one are you have to be you have to accomplish them.
Yes, and just to stress a bit that this is after the accreditation. So these 30 people, they've already been accredited, but they're not yet mediators. Why? They have to go through all of these things, okay? And the mock mediation is the only, how would you say, not practical. Well, it's practical in the sense you're practicing, but it's mock. Whereas everything else is real. It's a real-life mediation type setting. So we want them to have that experience before they ever take on an actual mediation on their own.
Yeah. Yes. So part of the this continuous development plan is to, of course, I have said that they have to attend these coordination meetings. Then you have to have some practice. You have to attend some mock mediation sessions. So if you would for the experienced mediators, because this is the first batch of mediators that we have, they have somewhat less because they have already gained a lot of knowledge during the accreditation program. But for new mediators, it's enhanced. Like they have to we have mock mediation sessions for at least 3 to 4 sessions over 2 years. So it's we enhance their experience. We also have an average of this 12 to 16 hours per year, and they have to contribute part of the function 16 hours approximately per year and handling cases. Okay, and then they have to attend. We also provide coaching sessions for new mediators, so they have to attend. This is usually done by experts invited by the office. They could they sometimes they do it online. So it's a coaching one-on-one sessions, and they would have feedback on the mediator on what are the points that should be considered or enhanced in their skills. So usually these coaching sessions are done after the mock mediation. So once the mediator has experienced this mock mediation, he or she would have a feel of what is lacking or the gap in the skills, and this could be highlighted in the coaching sessions. Okay. Yeah.
That one of the other good things about the coaching sessions is you might have an ongoing mediation, and you might have some questions to ask the coach. So they can help you out and give you a bit of direction with what to do. And I also, to put it into perspective a little bit on the total hours per year, okay? As I mentioned earlier, most of the mediators are from other departments and services. So if they're from a department that writes opposition decisions, for instance, your average opposition decision is estimated at 24 hours, okay, of work. So it's basically they're getting, if they're experienced, they're spending about half of one opposition decision of their working time getting trained, and if they're new mediators, they're actually spending even more. So this is kind of highlights that point a bit, why we have to be on very good relations with the other services in our office as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there should be an approval between the line manager and the mediator as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So continuously, we develop the skills. We encourage them to attend we have EUIPO IP Mediation Conference, which is held every 2 years. So we encourage them to attend this mediation 2-day mediation conference. The next one will be in 2025 October. So you might this is also given online, so we would appreciate for you to also attend this mediation conference. They are also encouraged to attend and participate in webinars to enhance their skills in other areas, like in trademark opposition or cancellation if they are part of other offices. And also to participate in projects and initiatives related to expansion of mediation service. Like if we have someone, if the EUIPO is invited in other forums, they will be top as speakers. So this will enhance their skills as well as give them a chance to promote the service. Okay. Okay, so in the engagement plan, one of the objectives is to spread the mediation culture in the whole of EU and other stakeholders. So mediators usually attend and participate as speakers or member of the working group in the activities of, like, for example, is engagement plan, webinars, internal mediation initiatives. So they are always of course this is there should be an agreement with the line manager and the mediator himself or herself. They will be invited to be speakers in a lot of the promotion and activities of the office. Okay, I think I have to get back to you.
Sorry, I have to wait a second. Okay, so this is a bit of a busy slide, but it's a bit on purpose. It shows, so you remember yesterday we basically said that the Mediation Center was officially launched a year ago in November of last year, and so that it's been quite a busy year, and we kind of put this together to put things a bit into perspective as well on the volumes of what's been going on. So I mentioned that we extended mediation services to trademark cancellation inter partes proceedings, meaning in any cancellation that we have over 2,000 a year normally, the parties could ask for a mediation, okay? We also at the same time increased the number of proposals that are made by the rapporteurs at the Board of Appeal, so the second instance of the office. And then we had actually, it's even more than this now. I think we made this PowerPoint about a week ago. We were at 26 accepted mediations this year. I think we're getting close to 35.
Yeah.
I would have to check my numbers now,
Yeah,
but even that number
35 is, I think
is already out of date, and that's recent. So it's moving quite quickly, and I think here is maybe where we're starting to witness this cultural shift. I think that our users are starting to get the idea that maybe in some situations, not all, of course, it might be better to negotiate a agreement with a mediator rather than wait for a decision that could potentially be adverse. So just in the third quarter, the last quarter of this year, we accredited 20 new mediators. Okay, so that's kind of how busy things have been lately, and we've had nearly 40 go through mock mediations in 1 quarter. And now we're getting to the amount that we said that are eligible for appointment this year. We had 22 events for users, and we estimate through those events, this is now judging by the number of registered participants, over 1,500 users. So, and we continue with this because I think when we get back, we are going to have a master class taught by CEDAR for our more experienced mediators. When we get back, we're going to have a new webinar, a Tuesday webinar. Usually with those, our experience is about 500 people tend to connect online for these webinars. And they're normally from across Europe, sometimes even from outside of the EU. And we still have many more what we call IP4U. It's when we present to the office in general presents to practitioners in each of the member states of the European Union new developments at the office, and in those we always have a segment on the mediation center. So basically what I wanted to show here is that almost none of this is case management. This is all the extra work on top. This is promotion, this is training, and we've been so busy this year that, okay, please don't quote me on this, but we have a very hard time to find time for cases. And so we're now looking into that this expansion part starts to slow down, and we get very, very focused on providing the mediation services. So, yep.
Yeah.
This is basically just another way of looking at the same thing. So this is in quarter 2 and quarter 3, we had 30 mediators complete their training. 37 complete mock mediations. We had 27 do a reporting mediation. I will tell you more about what that is now. And we had 22 act as shadow mediators, so actually go through a real mediation with an experienced mediator, meaning that they're now in the 5th point eligible for becoming a real mediator. So, yeah, can continue. So this is again for 2025. I mean, I don't think I want to go through all of this, but basically we're very ambitious on all of the planning that we do for continuing to educate our mediators. We kind of feel that it's our responsibility to make sure that we have ample opportunities for them to not only to keep up with the knowledge that they've acquired through accreditation, but to also to continue improving. So this is already what we plan for next year. Now, I'm going to switch to the first practical element that any one of our mediators encounters once they've been accredited and done one mock mediation. This is what's called a reporting mediation. I don't like necessarily the title of the activity, reporting mediation. It sounds weird. There's not so much reporting going on in it, but that's what it's been called for about a decade now. And we still do it because we do find it very useful. What is it? So it's basically when one of the decision takers, such as a rapporteur, decides, having reviewed all of the submissions by the parties in any given inter partes proceedings, meaning the written procedure has been closed. All of the submissions have been received. The case is with the rapporteur, essentially for taking a decision at that point. But they look through the submissions and they compare it with, I don't know if you recall yesterday, we gave a list of 10 reasons why one should consider mediating. They can compare with that and they say, look, actually, this one looks perfect for mediation because these parties used to do business together. They have a past relationship, and it even seems that the trademark issue is not the real issue. The real issue is they don't know what to do next. So I'm going to propose mediation. This is a formal communication from the office to both of the parties, inviting them to respond within 2 months whether they wish to mediate or not. So what does this invitation do? It triggers the reporting mediation activity. This case comes to us at the Mediation Center, and we find a trainee mediator, an accredited one, and we train them on how to do a reporting mediation, and that means to follow up with the parties. So they're actually going to take time to get in touch with the representatives of both sides. We at the EUIPO, we cannot contact the parties directly, only if they're unrepresented. If they do not have a legal representative, we can contact the business or the natural person directly. But in all other cases, which I would say are at least 90%, we tend to be contacting the legal representatives before the office. And this is naturally done at this initiation stage, so before there's an actual signature of a mediation agreement. In fact, the goal of a reporting mediation is to bring this case to a mediation, and the reporting mediator is basically tasked to hopefully make that happen. Now, without being pushy, naturally, we don't push the parties. Going back to voluntariness, we give them information. We tell them why it can be beneficial, and we might even go into specific aspects of their case, why they might be tricky in a decision situation, but the solutions do potentially exist in a negotiation. So we can go to the next one. So these are the objectives. They need to follow up with the parties as their as I mentioned earlier, but what makes it almost like a practical mediation experience is they're dealing with real people already. This is not a mock, okay? These are real parties with a real dispute before the office. So they make these contacts trying to gauge a bit their appetite. Is there interest there? I've had situations where I call someone and they say, well, no, I don't want to mediate. Bye-bye. And then we know that one we don't push any further. But there's people who are on the fence. There's many representatives that really need to take more time and talk to the client about it. And this is why during this period we will facilitate any information and answer any questions or doubts that they might have, including explaining, of course, the benefits. So they were mentioned, I think, in all of the presentations from yesterday, that they can save money, they can save time, they can find a tailor-made solution, they can have a global solution, particularly in cases where there's more than one proceeding pending, whether before the office or internationally. And what we really want from a process perspective here is that they formally reply to the proposal from the rapporteur or from the examiner, because that closes the loop. Now, preferably, as it says, we like it when they say yes, but even if it's a no, we'd like that they reply saying no, so that we know that the case goes back to the decision taker and decision is taken. And then we go back to this notion of good offices, which is another term that I don't really like, but it tends to be used quite a lot. And it's facilitating information with a view to a potential solution that may not be litigation. And we find that the people we call are really happy about it. They really like that we care, that we're checking up on them, because normally, like I said, such a big office with so many cases annually, we don't have time to call people. They feel a bit like they're dealing with some big organization that doesn't really care. So when we, as the Mediation Center and our mediator colleagues, make that effort to call and try and help them out, we actually find that they really, really appreciate it. So it's a kind of rewarding part of the work that we do. And what is the benefit for the mediator, the trainee mediator in this case? So of course, because that's a part of the learning path, they get to move through the learning path to get to the next step, and it is hands-on. It's a practical thing in dealing with the parties. It's real-life experience because it's a real dispute, and they're already trying to help out, as a mediator would do. I think that in and of itself, number 3, informal contacts with users and representatives is a benefit to everyone. It's a benefit to the colleague at the office to have contact with them, and it's a benefit to our users, because this way we build relationship and interaction, and that's how you get the trustworthiness and the rapport that you need to be able to mediate well. You have really interesting conversations, because I can tell you sometimes people are very stressed about their disputes, and I think we heard about that, about your example yesterday, and they tend to open up already a lot and share with you a lot of information about the dispute and about how they're feeling. So this is also preparing you to be a mediator. I think, like I said, this is adding real added value customer care, because it's very personalized. It's direct, and it's something that our office maybe doesn't do in the formal proceedings very often. There's a written procedure, it finishes, there's a decision taken. So this is the human part. And if you're successful in the reporting mediation, meaning the parties say yes, then actually once the mediator is appointed, you would end up being their shadow. So there's a bit of motivation to our mediators to see if they can get the mediation through. Of course, again, not being pushy, but trying to get it through so that they would be able to continue as the shadow mediator and get the real practical experience. Yeah.